phone smashed, cancelled flight, climbing out of an Airbnb on a ladder. They put me in a bus, one of those airport buses, with a private security guard. Can you believe it? What's happening to my voice? I couldn't believe it. Right, let's clean my glasses. Hang on. Okay, hi everyone, and welcome. A couple of things, first of all. Right now, I am very sick. I have a fever, I have a headache, I have a sore throat, and I haven't done my hair. I'm a right mess. It's not COVID. I've had that once already this year. 10 months ago in Serbia. This is definitely not that. It's just man flu. But anyway, welcome back to Riga in Latvia. However, this is not a Riga video. It's a Mexico video. See what I've done there? Mexican flag in the background. And right now, barring isolation and also being sick, I'm filming 3 videos from Riga at the moment. So they will be coming up very soon. But in the meantime, I'm responding to requests that I had recently on a live stream and also in messages wanted me to do a video about my Cancun calamity. That's right. So just to clarify, if you clicked on this thinking that this is a video about, all-inclusive holidays in Cancun and, putting a face mask on and doing a thumbnail of it and going, during COVID travel, this video is not for you. It's a bit of a story time video. So let's get going. As you may know, recently I was back in Mexico for about 2.5 months. It felt like a lot longer. And I recently returned to Europe at the beginning of November. It's the beginning of December now, so it's about a month later. I've had time to recover. And let's just say my journey back to Europe was not pleasant. It wasn't easy. Obviously during this time of year, this year, COVID, I didn't expect it to be easy, and certainly it wasn't easy. It was a blimmin' nightmare. So let's just get some fundamental things out of the way first. So I was flying from Mexico City to Cancun with Viva Aerobus, not Viva Mexico as I always call them. Then I was flying with TUI direct from Cancun to London Gatwick. Then I was staying in London for one night and then flying from Stansted to Riga with someone else. Ryanair, that's it. Brilliant. Yeah, and about a week before the flight, I got an email, the TUI flight, by the way. I got an email saying that your holiday has been cancelled. Holiday? What is a holiday? Or vacation, if you're American. I'm not on holiday. If you don't know, I'm a digital nomad. I just get flights one way here and there. I don't go on holiday. But obviously TUI, that airline, if you don't know, it's an airline in the UK that is primarily used for holiday makers flying from Gatwick to Cancun or Greece or wherever, like an all-inclusive return trip. So obviously that's why they assumed I was on a holiday. But basically they said, your holiday may be cancelled. There wasn't any confirmation or clarity. It was just one of those generic emails. So I thought, okay, fair enough. I'll get on Twitter. The response was, it will take 4 days for us to get back to you. 4 days? Ridiculous. Anyway, there wasn't much clarification over the next 4 days until I got a message from Lauren and Nicola, 2 messages saying that flights back to the UK are still going ahead. So the actual holidays, as in the return flights, were cancelled, but the one-way flights that people get were still happening. And I thought, okay, I'll take your word for that. Famous last words. So anyway, I flew from Mexico City to Cancun, no problem. Good old Viva Aerobus. I love Mexican airlines. I know some people have some trouble with them, but I've never had a problem with Interjet, Volaris, Aeromar, Aeromexico I have. That's another story. But in general, Mexican airlines are always great. So that was that bit. Got to Cancun after my phone had smashed. That's why there is no footage from this whole calamity, catastrophe, disaster, oblivion, nightmare. Yeah, so I got to Cancun, no phone, couldn't get on Wi-Fi obviously, except with my laptop. Walked up to the screen, the departure screen, to look for my TUI flight to Cancun. Oh, what a surprise. No flipping flight. Couldn't believe it. Absolutely raging. I asked information desk people, there wasn't any staff from TUI at the airport. I got told that there was no flight operating from Cancun to Gatwick. Double brilliant. At this point I was raging, as you do. Looking back on it now, it's quite hilarious. But I think when we're in those sorts of situations and we think, we've made plans going ahead, now my plans are absolutely screwed, if you know what I mean, without using a naughty word. Yeah, I got on my laptop and started just emailing and angrily twittering until I got responses. And yeah, it turned out there was no flight. And the funniest thing was, they said, oh, if you have an issue, contact your rep in the resort. What resort? What rep? It's a one-way flight, for Christ's sake. Anyway, one thing I wanted to add at this point was, I talk a lot in the past about Cancun is not the real Mexico, which causes chaos generally because a lot of people say, well, everywhere in Mexico is real. Of course it is. But I don't mean it like that. I've been to Cancun before, and when I say that it's not the real Mexico, it is that place that I'm going to come across as a right travel snob now, but it is the place that people go to for all-inclusive holidays, and I don't really do that. It's not really my thing. What a wanker. But yeah, what I mean is that I'm comparing it to magic towns and, things like that. It's not, hasn't got that sort of historical, authentic feel that those places do. And I really noticed the difference walking out of the airport to have a cigarette, a stress cigarette, and the guys out there were, of course, saying, oh, do you want a taxi? In English, they were saying this, and I responded in Spanish, just naturally. And I think they were honestly shocked that an English speaker, a tourist, was speaking Spanish to them. Bonkers. And that just really kind of highlighted the difference between Cancun, or a touristy area, and a non-touristy area. Anyway, what happened next? Right, with the help of a friend of mine, I managed to book another flight for the next day. I found an Airbnb to stay at. That was just the start of the chaos. The Airbnb was close to the airport. Close, kind of. I've got to stop doing quote marks. But it was actually in a hell area. What was it called? Alfonso something. I can't remember. I'll put the name of it down the bottom. But yeah, when I said to the taxi guy where I was going, he said, oh, are you sure you want to go there? It was one of those shady areas. It wasn't that bad. But the funny thing was, the fact that I could speak a bit of Spanish to the taxi guys and the Colectivo guys, they let me have local price. I was shocked when they showed me this A4 laminated sheet from the back of the taxi, which had tourist prices, local prices on it. I couldn't believe it. The tourist price was something like $60 to go to the center of Cancun, but the local price was like 3 times as less. So I paid 200 pesos to go from the airport to this place. It wasn't actually that close. It was bloody miles away, which I would find out the next day. Anyway, finally find this Airbnb, which is in the middle of nowhere. The Wi-Fi doesn't work, despite being promised that it worked. Got up the next day, went to leave, but everything was locked and I couldn't get out. This was like 6:30 in the morning. So I had to use a ladder that was next to the entrance bit to climb up with my bags, drag the ladder up, throw it down the other side again, and then climb down to escape from this Airbnb. Next up, I thought, okay, I'll get a taxi to the airport. There were no ATMs anywhere. The one that I did find wasn't working. Actually, 2. There was another one. I then get on my laptop outside Domino's to find that the flight that I booked had now been cancelled, or the payment hadn't gone through or something. So outside Domino's, I had to book another flight last minute. Okay, then I started walking to the airport from wherever this place was. I think it was about 10 kilometers. I must have walked about 3/4 of it in the rain. You know what Cancun heat is like as well when you have rain and it's just sweaty as hell. Finally found a hotel. I can't remember the name of it. It was the first one I found. I persuaded the guy in there to let me use the airport shuttle, which was 300 pesos for the rest of the way to the airport. At that point, I didn't give a shit. I just wanted to get to the airport. Yeah, so thank Christ for that guy. And, if it wasn't for him, I probably would have been dead by now. After that, it was relatively plain sailing in a way. So I had to go from Cancun to Toronto in Canada. But the mistake I made with the Domino's Pizza flight booking thing was the fact that I forgot that as a UK citizen, I can't enter Canada at the moment. And also I can't go from terminal to terminal because you have to go through immigration and customs and everything. So I thought, oh crap, I'm going to be stuck in Toronto. But turns out, and this, another godsend, just like the hotel guy, there was a guy waiting for me as I got off the plane in Toronto, and he said, oh, are you David? I was like, oh my God, what's going on? It turned out that they were waiting for me. The airport, someone had emailed them or whatever, the ground staff, told them that I was coming, that I needed to be transported to the other terminal. I was like, oh my God. So I'm not going to believe this. They put me in a bus, one of those airport buses, with a private security guard. Can you believe it? What's happening to my voice? I couldn't believe it. I was like a celebrity. I felt like Adele, on a private bus going through the airport, past all the planes with the security guard that wasn't speaking to me. Anyway, I got off the bus and then the woman then had to walk me to the gate because she told me you can't go out of a certain area around the gate. So I was like, oh my God. So I had to sit down and then I eventually got on the flight to London. And what happened then? Oh yeah, that was it. At the beginning I said I was going to stay in London for a night. Well, it turns out I now couldn't because of the cancelled flight and everything. So instead of staying anywhere in London, I had to get to London Heathrow, get on, what did I get on? 2 trains. I got on the tube and then another train to Stansted Airport for my flight to Riga. which was the original flight that I booked for that day. And then finally got to Riga. So that was it. So, you know, phone smashed, cancelled flight, climbing out of an Airbnb on a ladder, no ATMs, and just every step of the way was an absolute flipping disaster. And there's something about Cancun that really annoys me. You know, ATMs, why do they dispense money in US dollars? You're in Mexico, you're not in the US. People at the ATMs there was this woman who was saying, oh, I don't know how much 200 pesos is in US dollars. Why didn't you check that before you left? Are you stupid? So I had to tell her how much it was while I was waiting for her to finally finish at this ATM. The thing about people making no effort to speak Spanish and the fact that all the guys there speak English. Why should people who are from Mexico feel like they have to speak English to tourists? Why aren't the tourists making an effort to learn the language? I just don't get it. I'm in Latvia. I learned Labvakar, Labdien, Paldies, Russian, Spasiba, Здравствуйте, Privyet. It's not difficult to learn some basic phrases. Jesus, hola, buenas tardes. It's not rocket science, people, you know. I just don't get this whole Cancun thing, this obsession with Cancun, and kind of this Cancun calamity has kind of reminded me that, Christ, I never want to go to somewhere like that, you know. But looking back, you know, it's a hilarious, humorous travel experience that, you know, these things happen. We have to just try and remain calm to the best of our ability. And the great news is I did get a refund from TUI. Bloody TUI. What's their names again? Lauren and Nicola. I swear they're going to get it in the neck if I ever meet them. Yeah, I got a refund in about a week. I've applied for the EU compensation as well. If a flight is cancelled leaving from the EU or to the EU or whatever, you get compensation. That's ongoing. But yeah, in short, don't fly with an airline like TUI. But Viva Aerobus, brilliant. So thanks for watching. That was a bit of a calamity. I'll see you next time. There'll be some Riga videos coming up next. I don't know if any trains have been going past during this video, but whatever. Goodbye, Mexico. I'll see you next year, 2021. Brilliant. Catch you later.